All right, so you're back with us for another deep dive, and we're going to get right into it today. As always, you know you're here because you want to know more, but you want to know it quickly and efficiently.
Mhm.
So we're diving into the world of outdoor design today, specifically what VizX Design Studios calls the art of outdoor living.
Okay.
We're really going to be pulling from an interesting piece I found called The Price of Cutting Corners, Why Design Matters Outdoors.
Right.
Really, the big idea here is how much attention we all pay to what's going on inside of our houses,
Yeah.
but then you walk out the back door and it's like a whole
It's a different world sometimes.
different world, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you see this a lot, like you were saying, the interiors can be just beautiful. Like everything's been planned out perfectly, the layout, the materials, it all works.
hmm
But then you step out onto like the patio or the deck and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is like a completely different property almost, you
Yeah.
know?
You don't get that same
It feels off somehow.
flow.
Yeah, it might be that the materials just don't quite match the house, or the scale feels wrong, or the layout just doesn't actually function well for you.
Right.
And what's important to note here is it's not about having like a huge space, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
It's about what our source here really emphasizes flow functionality and design integrity.
Okay, so let's dig into this a little bit.
Yeah.
Why do we think we end up in this situation where we kind of forget about those outdoor spaces?
Well, a lot of times when you're building or renovating a home, the focus is very heavily weighted towards the interior, right?
Makes sense.
So outdoor areas can seem like something to address later.
Later, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. And then when later arrives, sometimes budgets are tighter or you're just looking for a quick fix.
Right.
So you end up choosing those cheaper, less thought out options.
And it's easy to think, oh, it's just a patio.
Right, exactly. It's just a patio. But that kind of thinking can lead to some pitfalls.
And that's exactly what The Price of Cutting Corners piece highlights, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about the aesthetics. It's about so much more.
Totally. So the piece really delves into how when you skimp on design, you often end up using materials that just can't handle the elements, sun, wind, rain.
They deteriorate much faster, right?
Exactly. And then they fail prematurely. And then there's also the issue of the layout. If it's poorly designed, the space might just end up being unusable or not enjoyable to be in.
Right.
So it ends up getting neglected. And then that neglect leads to disrepair. And ultimately, that impacts your home's value and appeal.
Wow. So it really all comes full circle.
Yeah, those initial savings by cutting corners can actually cost you way more down the line.
Not to mention you just don't get to enjoy the space.
Exactly. You're missing out on all that potential for outdoor living.
So this brings us to a really important point that our source, the art of outdoor living, stories of transformation, really hits on. And that's that hiring a designer isn't just like a luxury,
Right.
It's kind of a necessity in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting about this is that a professional designer, they act as a protector of your investment.
Interesting how so.
They're not just looking at the immediate aesthetics, they're thinking about how that space is going to function in the long term.
Yeah.
What materials are going to last, what's going to work best for your lifestyle, and how can we seamlessly integrate this space with the architecture of your home and the way you live.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking about that flow between the inside and outside, so you have this one cohesive vision for your home.
So you're saying it's about making your home feel truly complete.
Exactly.
And that's a powerful concept, right? Like it's not just about making things look pretty. It's about extending your living space beyond those interior walls and creating a sense of wholeness.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, a well-designed outdoor space just enhances your quality of life, period.
Totally.
It becomes an extension of your living area, a place to relax, to entertain, to connect with nature, all of which contribute to your well-being.
I mean, you just feel better when you're in a space that works for you.
Right. And when the indoors and outdoors flow together seamlessly, your home truly feels like a unified whole.
So we've really dug into this idea today that investing in outdoor design isn't just about having a beautiful backyard.
Right.
It's about making smart decisions that prevent those costly errors and headaches down the road.
Yeah.
It's about making sure the space is actually usable and enjoyable for you.
Totally.
And ultimately, it's about increasing both how much you love your home and its long-term value.
Absolutely. And that actually brings up an important question for you listening at home. Think about your own outdoor spaces.
Yeah.
Do they truly feel like an integrated part of your home?
Yeah.
And what are some small design considerations, even seemingly insignificant ones, that could potentially make a big positive difference in how you experience your home every single day.
I think that's a great place to leave it for today. So thank you for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.